And we are recording.
We're recording, all right. Let's call the Port Orchard City Council Finance Committee of April 23rd, 2019 to order. And first thing on the agenda is sales tax. Noah?
Thank you. All right, so for today's meeting, it's fairly light. So we'll cover the sales tax report and then the treasurer's report. So far, year to date, pleased to report that our actuals over the previous years are up 5.3%, and we're above our budget, 6.4%. So all good things on the sales tax revenue collection side. Year to date through March, we've collected $1.3 million. Again, very pleased with where we're at compared to how we budgeted. On the REIT side,
Slowed down a little bit.
it did slow down a little bit. So we're still ahead of our budget. We're still ahead of our year-to-dates, but we did notice a sizable dip in the REIT, and I guess we're just going to monitor it, see how it
That
plays
March,
out.
that's January, isn't it?
Is REIT Trail not 60
No,
days
I don't
old?
think REIT trails.
I don't think REIT trails.
Trails,
No, not
okay.
like sales tax.
No.
There's some delay, but not
Some
to
delay.
The, not to the level.
And the 202, that was the conversion to cash accounting, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a component of it, but it was still healthy.
Yeah.
But we're, gosh, the activities going on in planning or in education, there's a lot in the pipeline
Yeah.
out there, there's activities, but it is concerning when that's how sales or business sales or property sales.
Property sales.
Yep.
Yeah. So still positive. Again, we're only a quarter way through the year, but we noticed a sizable dip, and maybe we'll have a sizable bounce back. How this works, but all in all, healthy revenues coming in for both the sales tax and REIT, which is very important to us.
Well, we got 1 quarter under our belt.
Well, I was
One
going to
quarter,
say,
yeah.
we've got 1 quarter under our belt and 44% of our budgeted amount, so.
And if you look at it, biennial,
Yep.
on a biennial note, 12.5% is where we should be
Mhm.
on a biennium, and we're 13
Yeah.
because
Yep.
we have compounding.
Can't set records every month.
No,
Correct.
we're
Why not?
on target.
There's a thing called law of averages.
Oh. I hate averages.
So the second
Okay.
report, again, this is our fund balance summary report. It's different now because now we're on Encode. So again, I'm trying to roll out new reports, see what is easiest for you to read. If you don't like it, I can keep trying other reports. This was like a 5-page report, and there was more detail, but I didn't think you guys really wanted all the detail that comes with this. So this was closest to what we have seen previously, where you can see a beginning balance, total activity, and then ending fund balance. And you can see the period ranges from the start of the year through the end of March. So for the current expense fund, we began with $4.5 million as an account. The total activity minus $31,000, so our ending balance for March is $4.5 million. So all our funds are really healthy right now. There's nothing that's alarming or concerning at this point.
We haven't paid for our tree mount yet either, though.
That's gonna be
Healthy balances right now.
Healthy balances right now, yeah. So yeah, the capital construction side is what we're concerned about, but we still don't have all the details that we need to completely plan that out, whether it's in storm, water, or general fund type activity, even with the change orders coming forward today. So we're still working with Public Works on sorting all that out. A couple of things I did want to point out. I think I said this last time, but I'll say it again. So funds in the middle, 401 and 402 and 403. Again, those are the 3 funds that we are closing as a part of this year. And you'll see here that we brought in a beginning balance, at least for 401, of $3.3 million. The total activity represents what we actually budgeted for the biennium, because we were trying to deplete that fund, so we budgeted what we thought. But because we had a larger beginning fund balance than we originally anticipated and budgeted, we still have a large balance there. So again, I'll bring forward a budget amendment to deplete the remaining balances to the proper water sewer accounts. But that's actually a good thing, that we have more money to disperse funds to our water sewer operating capital.
So we're transferring it out of these funds and into other appropriate.
Down to the
well, you can see them there
Yeah.
at 411,
Yeah.
413, and where their beginning balance was 0, but the activity was a big dollar amount.
So at some point, probably next year, I would guess, once we've done the budget amendment, transfer the funds, there's no longer any activity in the fund, we'll probably inactivate those funds so they're no longer shown up on the list, just to clean it up, make it a little simpler to read. And And then we're really in talking about our water enterprise, our sewer enterprise, and our storm enterprise.
Easy to read.
Good. So nothing real of concern right now with the fund levels.
Yeah,
Revenues are
no,
coming
that's-
strong, expenses are maintaining. I think we're still under budget, although we've been working with the guild and other union reps, so we have some savings there.
We'll talk about that tonight. And we've been saying, I mean, we're understaffed. I mean, we've had some turnover. We're having challenges hiring. You know, we're going to do a salary survey next year. I don't think we're losing people because of wages. This is a strong strong job market.
It
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
And then we'll know better, you know, after we do, you know, the survey to make sure we're staying competitive. But
We should look on your recruitment, because I know that's been a real challenge
it's, yeah.
for us at Transit. For everything except boat crews. Geez, if you ever hired boat crews, they're all over the place. But every other position is a challenge.
We did it.
And you need skilled laborers out of public works.
We're not trying to hire. We've got
Right.
We've got the TV guy out, and it's in my mayor's report. We've got the TV guy hired. He hasn't started yet. The new HR person starts next week. We have two openings in the police. We've had 2 openings. We did an oral board. We identified 3 candidates. We started the background checks and the processes. 2 of them are gone. We're down to 1 for 2 openings. So, you know, we got to hire the right people too.
Or no?
We did. We have our maintenance director is retiring. We recruited, publicized the position in the 2 national publications and industry publications, along with our state association and a number. I mean, it wasn't just a classified ad in the Kitsap Sun. And we had 2 applicants. And we actually pay at least better, a little better than one of our comparables in Olympia, Thurston County's transit system. In fact, they adjusted theirs up as soon as they seen our announcement. And one of the 2 was an internal candidate. Fortunately, the internal candidate is head and shoulders, so I just went ahead.
And you know what you have.
Yeah, I know what I have, and he had lots and lots of support within. But my point is, with
It's
all
tough.
this national
Mhm.
advertising that we did, 2 qualified applicants.
But I was
This is
so
a
pleased.
6-figure position.
Yeah.
So.
I was so pleased that we had 18 applicants for our police chief.
Yeah, very, very
The
fortunate.
consultant really steered us right, how to do it. I'm very, very pleased with the process we've been through it. And we've got somebody doing a polygraph and a psychological on Friday. So
Oh, okay.
We're progressing. So, yeah.
And the mayor mentioned that, I think you're going to mention in your mayor's report tonight about Debbie coming on, Debbie Lund.
Yeah.
So I'm very pleased that we got someone of this caliber coming on. She has 20 years of experience in local government, from PUDs to cities. She's worked for AWC on the board. So she brings a lot of experience that I think will be awesome for this city, because Deb Howard's done a great job to establish what an HR department is, and Debbie Lund can kind of take it to the next level, I think, which will be really great.
We did have a local person that we really liked her personality, but she just didn't have the experience that Debbie Lund has. So,
Is Debbie Lund, will she be commuting?
Yeah, and I think she lives in Mason County.
Oh,
So
okay.
she's not too
That's
far
not
down.
bad.
No,
Okay. It's not like it's Yelm or Lacey or something.
Not like Olympia. It would be
Yeah,
bad.
Yeah,
like Olympia,
gosh.
Yeah, these crazy people.
the one position another position we're really struggling with too is we lost our heavy equipment operator, and Chris, and I mean those jobs right now are just paying a ton of all the
Right.
construction, and attracting somebody. You know, our wage isn't what private sector is, but our benefit package is much better. And so,
Yeah, no fooling, particularly the medical.
well, and the PERS retirement, but you got to stick around 5 years to vest. So,
10 of it's first 3.
is it 10 on
10
PERS?
to get vested in first 3.
Theory, there should be a retention tool.
Yeah. So anyway, it's, you know, we've got a lot of nothing to be, you know, to cry about here. We've got a lot of exciting things going on. The people we're hiring are fabulous, and I'm thrilled with
Well, the good side is the reason that it's so hard is our economy is very
Mhm.
strong, so
Yeah.
you know, we benefit from it from that standpoint.
Yeah.
Our friends up in Snohomish County are advertising in Spokane County for bus drivers. It's that bad,
Yeah.
so.
Wow. Yeah. Well, my next item is just informational. I went to a presentation on Western Washington University is starting up a small business development center. And I went to a presentation, and it's really, I think it's a phenomenal program. Kitsap Bank hosted this. This is and they're needing to raise about, it's gonna cost about 50, there's a match, a federal match that comes with this. So they need to raise about $50,000 annually. Paulsbo's gonna kick in $10,000 on this thing to start it up. Well, at least that's what Becky Erickson said, so. You know, mayors don't write checks though, city councils do, so.
That's good.
Yeah. So this is a great program, I believe. They're going, the Kitsap Bank is going out to the banks and the private sector to raise most of this. My comment to Tony George was, I said, I can't make any changes to the current budget, but I believe this is a better program than CADA is. And where I think it's a $3,000 or $5,000. I very much support what we're doing and the activities that are going on in CADA. CADA, I'm questioning the investment, and we might want to make a change in 2020 within our current budget, and just John Powers isn't going to be happy with me, but to reprogram those dollars. And if they're struggling to get to their funding level on this, that they need to pay, it's paying for a body from the Western employees, and then it will be, they determined they were going to put it at the at Vibe. Kitsap Bank was going to provide the space at Vibe, and since then Jean from the Kitsap Regional Library, they're going to house this person. And then the beauty of that is this person can travel to any of the libraries, and it's basically it's coaching and business development coaching and tools is what these
How
folks
is that
do.
different from the services that KEDA is offering?
KEDA's out there trying to attract employers. And they do
In
some.
their reports, they talk about all of the
But they
stuff they do with existing business.
So does Kitsap Community Resources. They do a lot of entry-level businesses, but
Yeah, John, they do PTAC stuff. And so
John
it's
does,
supporting the
yes.
military
Right,
and coaching that. This is more, and it's been a couple months since I've been meeting. This has been on my credenza, and we just haven't had a meeting to talk about it. But it's more about providing. It's more so like SCORE, familiar with SCORE,
Mhm.
but instead of being retired, these are people that this is what they do for a living versus some retired business person. So I'm not looking for anything right now. I'm just making you aware about this program. I think they're going to be able to get it up and going, but it's going to be an ongoing commitment. And they were looking not only at the private sector but the government sector to help support it, because it's more supporting small businesses, and entrepreneurs. And we keep. I don't know, the CADA money, they keep going to air shows and trying to hit home runs, and they've been doing it for 10 years and I haven't seen anything happen
anything
with
measurable.
it. Yeah, measurable, thank you. And I think this could be a better use of, because we do have small businesses in our community that would
Right,
benefit.
I would speak in support of that, in that I'm going to go to the parking issue downtown, in that the business is downtown when it is to change our parking, and we're going to have a work study about that. But my question to the POBSA group in email was, I don't have a problem with this, but I can't make a decision without some data. So can you tell me, because they said because of the lost revenue, I said, can you tell me how much revenue your businesses believe they're losing because of the hours? And can you tell me what time of day most of their business is, so that you know how to adjust these hours? And I asked 3 or 4 questions, and they couldn't answer any of them. So, and then we did, the city hosted a whole series, 10 months of Roger Brooks information, and and he's a marketing guy and this and that, but he had some real quality ideas for people. And one of the things he said is you need to have consistency in your hours, and to think more like a mall. You're downtown and everybody open at the same time, basically close at the same time. So when people come downtown, our hours downtown are all over the place. I mean, so we tried to give them information, and they didn't jump on it. They took some, but not the individual businesses. So maybe they would respond to something like this, so that they can actually develop a stronger business plan.
Well, and that's part of what these folks do, is they
Correct.
help you with a business plan. They might help you put a lending package together, because I know, you and I know that some customers are very sophisticated and can give you a very good package, and others you have to coach along, or you can't get them there because
Right.
they just don't have the skills.
Right.
This particular program, Western does it up in, is that Whatcom County up in
Mhm.
where
Yep.
Bellingham is?
Yep.
And they gave us the stats, actually. They served this one employee, which they would have one employee down here also. 325 clients. This is a free service they're providing to help support the businesses. 6 new business startups and 315 jobs. So those are the measurables from their 2018 activity. At $50,000, and the federal government's matching the other $50,000 for this program. It's a pretty good investment.
Yeah, sounds like it.
So anyway, I don't know. It sounds like they've got it covered for this year. And I said, I don't have any resources to help you anyway.
This one.
But next year, it might be appropriate to reprogram some dollars that we have that are being used for business development activities that I don't think are as fruitful as they need to be.
Well, we may have an opportunity too. We've this long debate about the ongoing funding of some certain festivals through LTAC. And maybe we'd make an investment away from some of that and try this and see if we can measure it any.
But
That's a perfect lead in into the next.
Yeah, that's LTAC dollars, and I don't know that I can get LTAC dollars here.
Yeah,
no.
but what if you did it through a chamber?
But
That's not-
they still
that's
have
not
to.
an appropriate use.
Yeah, they still have to justify the heads and beds aspect of what we give to the chamber. So good idea, but I don't think we can legally.
Aren't we giving the chamber dues just for or money just for operations? In
No.
addition
No,
to
The
it's
that?
for
advertising.
marketing.
Marketing, yeah.
It's probably supplanting some of the operating dollars, but no, it's got to be used for marketing. But you know that, you're wrong.
That's why I brought it up.
Yeah.
It's being done.
Well,
It shouldn't be, but you're right. It's probably, John says,
Not
supplanting
visible.
dollars that they would have to use for marketing that now they're able to use.
Yes, yeah.
In
You have to
another way.
rewrite the budget
are
and
you
account for
referring to
your
the
dollars.
Admiral Theater or some other organization?
Stuff. I've heard it. I've heard rumors.
Yeah.
Rumors. Okay, so we had I thought a very good meeting this morning,
Yeah.
very informational.
Thank you for setting that up. I think
Yeah.
it's great to all be around a common table.
And
Well, I was really impressed because what I heard from Kitsap Bank is what I needed to hear from Kitsap Bank, and there's a commitment there. And I very much appreciated what they were saying about they don't want to be out front, and I completely understand why. So that's why they're kind of laying back in the shadows a little bit, but their commitment seems to be there.
I do believe and I'll share this tonight, I think what it is, and you can't ask low and then pursue something higher. I think this $18 to $20 million project, though, it isn't going to cost that to build 25,000 square feet, and I think we need to get a little more, some money needs to be spent to get to a granular level
I was
of
going to
what
say,
it
is
is.
that the 400,000?
Yes,
Yeah.
and so that really, and when, to be honest, once this becomes a public process, it's what our community wants, and I think we may need, and I'll mention this tonight, is it might be time for us to have a Parks and Rec, put that out to the voters. And whether, if this is that important to our community.
You're talking about the Metropolitan Parks District, not a department within the city. If you're looking for that entity to generate revenue.
It could be the city and the urban growth. I don't know. That's what this process could be, because we've got the McCormick Village Park. There's money. It seems to be money everywhere to build things. It's the maintenance and the operation, whether it be that, and maybe it's just LTAC. I don't know. I don't know.
What you were saying is, are you thinking that if we were to commit to maintaining it, that we would need to really formalize our Parks Department, or are you?
We could, and that's what I'm going to tell you guys tonight.
Well, I know you could, but what are you telling us? That, or you want something that's going to generate money from the community?
Because your metropolitan, even the Key Peninsula has great parks, because they have the Key Pen Parks, which is a metropolitan park, and they went to the voters and came off of Gig Harbor's park. But they have a real estate tax that promotes that. So every time we ask for a tax, I just get skittish with our school bond issues.
Yeah, it's got to be a public process. The outcome is our community says, this is what we want, and I don't know. I'm not advocating. I'm just Kingston. That is how Kingston is funding this, the operations, maintenance and
Parks District?
Yes, they formed one in Kingston community.
Okay. Now the other thing I'm going to say is, if you put it out to the public like that, they may switch you from something on the waterfront and doing something up at the Givens area. So,
I think it's going to be
right.
If we're going to, if this is a big if here, if we're doing something, number one, sooner versus later, we've got to update our parks plan.
Correct.
Okay, because we may have an opportunity to utilize some park impact fees. We don't have a project right now, and we're collecting those park impact fees, and to be able to spend them somewhere, we got to have a parks plan. Okay, so that's probably a piece of the pie, and it could be this and our other parks and other assets that we haven't even thought of yet, that are part of a master plan and a parks district. Maybe it could be very well. It's all funded through a partnership between the three government entities, and our portion is coming from REIT. That's not how they're doing it in Kingston, but they don't have a hotels either. So I don't have the answers. I'm just going to share with you guys tonight the observations and probably about a dozen slides, pictures of it. It's a phenomenal facility. It was $9.3 million 3 years ago, and they did it with pie sales, basically. And they have you buy a pie for $3,000 from their community event.
I know I left today's meeting thinking that we definitely need to support it. And I don't think that's just the way my mind works. I don't think we support it casually. I think we have a methodical or a plan on how we're going to approach the public facilities district, and how we're going to interact with Kitsap Bank and with the Sound West group. Because right now, Kitsap Bank and the Sound West group and the three government agencies, the port, the county, and us, have put all of our eggs in Steve Seagull. He is the face. He is the one that is.
And that's this piece of it is got to come to. If we're going to become the lead on this, it's coming to us, and it's a public process. And that's probably the only way we can ensure the success, because whether Commissioner Burrito's apathetic or not, is what I really sensed. She says she's on board. Her actions don't speak to that. And whether Larry's naive or playing dumb, that's probably more the case. there's a lot more to this than the port's saying there is, and how you go about this.
I think it's dominoes, right? I mean, you're right. It has to be driven through a public facility. That's why it's called a public facilities
Facilities
district. I mean,
district,
that's, so you're right. I think where Sound West is they're, I think, attempting to put a series of dominoes together, right? And it's a bunch of if-then statements, and if the community center gets traction and Kitsap Bank starts, and if Kitsap Bank starts, that's the market supply that Sound West needs to do their stuff, right? So it's kind of bang, bang, bang.
Correct.
You know,
Yeah.
and so I think that's why they're driving for it. It's the
catalyst.
It's the catalyst.
Yeah.
It's the spark that gets all of these other things going.
Right.
And I don't think we have, as we, and I've heard this.
And I wouldn't disagree with it if it all,
Yeah.
that master development agreement gets put together and everyone's
You know,
committed.
thank goodness that they've stepped forward and have shepherded to this point.
Yeah,
so.
but they're eager to hand it off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
And it
we
won't
wouldn't
be-
have heard from Kitsap Bank today without board support, without executive senior leadership support. They wouldn't talk out of turn.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
And I don't believe, and I think we all heard this, is that this doesn't have to be built ahead of it, but the commitments have to be in place.
Oh, I think
that
they
it's
think it'll be
going to
built behind
happen.
it, is what they had said.
Well,
Yeah.
they definitely indicated that. The other thing that we need to keep in mind is that time frame, because I heard today that if the community center doesn't go,
Yeah.
that there's some hesitation to do the rest of it. I
There's no,
also-
Wes Larson's told me outright, he didn't say it this morning, he said, this project, we're not interested if it's not the master plan.
Correct.
And without the bank's commitment, we aren't gonna build 50,000 square feet of Class A office space.
Correct. So that's the bigger picture, but the immediate for the city of Port Orchard is that the public facility district may or may not make a decision by June, and the Sound West group, or Steve, has to buy 640 Bay by the end of June. So, are we looking at another extension, or are we losing that sale? I mean, so the timing is truly an issue.
And I would advocate that we
We
give
do
them an
another extension.
extension. I mean, they've got hard money and they paid us the 7,500. We may have to take steps we didn't get fair market value, because we were getting public amenities, and we probably have to appraise it again and demonstrate, because, the appraisals are only good for, and we owe it to the public to demonstrate that we're getting a return on this, so there's gonna be steps we're probably likely have to do.
We don't want that to be the hiccup, but we also want to make sure that the city's protected,
Yes.
whatever that's going to look like.
Well, that's the thing, and your comments a few minutes ago, we need to be supportive, and I'm totally in everything to this point, but it's supportive, but, there's a whole
and we
lot
have
of,
to, right,
there's a whole lot of, like, the resolution tonight is just fluff. Yeah, we're gonna work
Right.
together with everybody, and sure, we're
Right.
committed, but we're not really stepping forward and saying we're gonna commit $1, because right now, I don't know what's needed.
well, that was what I said today. I don't know what questions to
Yeah,
ask.
exactly. But to what we know today, I'm all for it. I'm 100% behind it. And let's continue moving and get those answers. And who knows? There might be a fatal flaw. I hope not. Try to work through whatever we come up with, but I think it's something that personally I think we should be helping as much as we can.
And I'm not, tonight, in the discussion point about Kingston and this community center, I'm not gonna be asking the council for a blank check, but I'm gonna ask that you guys give me permission to be more vocal in our support, to go to the public facilities meeting on the 20th in their public comment period and say, Port Orchard is strongly behind this, that we're meeting with in which we have the other government partners in this, and determining what the ownership looks like and whether or not it makes sense that Port Orchard becomes the public partner versus the Port of Bremerton. And hopefully everybody's comfortable with a statement somewhere around that, because they're
I'm
looking.
fine with it until we
Yeah.
figure out specifically what does that mean.
Well,
We can talk to Rothland and make sure we're not stepping on their toes.
They
Something we
they
know.
don't want to be the public
We
partner.
know that, Okay,
Yes,
as long
I
as
do.
we know that.
I've talked
Bill
to
Mahan told me that specifically. that-
and Larry Stokes told me at the
That makes
meeting
sense, that's consistent.
that the city should be the owner of this. And I said, that's the first I've heard that. And I said, that's not a check I can write. I said, I will
Well,
convey that back to our city council.
What does that mean? Because as you and I had this conversation, the port owns the ground, or a lot of it. So does that mean the city is buying from the port, or is the port gonna contribute? I mean, there's a whole lot
A
of
lot of
things that need
details
to
to
be
work out. A lot of
figured out.
details to work. And the ownership doesn't scare me nearly as much as the maintenance and operations. That's where we need a
Company
strong
ownership.
partnership with, because if it's PFD money is half to 70% of it, and the rest of it is through grants and private fundraising, they're not asking for our checkbooks at this point.
Other than maintain, operate.
That's where we've got to figure out the programming, who the partners are, and who's going to pay for it.
And you said that Kingston is about $250 a year. in
$250 a
operating.
year.
And they have their own staff there, not, well, they have volunteers because there's more than Linda.
It's 70 volunteers and a person.
Linda.
Yeah. And she does a bang up job.
Oh, she's fantastic. She damn near
But-
lives there, but.
And
it's
well,
hard
the
to
other
find
piece of it
somebody
too is the
like that.
okay, but there's support from the library too. The library's
Yeah.
housed there, and they're contributing to that. And the library actually pays for all of the janitorial for the entire 20. That's their contribution, is the janitorial.
And that's what we have to find
Yeah,
out. We
that's
have to
what we
look at
gotta figure out.
design, programming, operating costs, heat, water, electricity.
just
We have to do a
some-
full pro forma and understand,
Yeah.
is this a $250,000 number? Is this a
Yeah.
$2.25 million?
The other thing I'm going to
I
say
know.
out loud is, I'm supportive of it, I don't want to imply that I'm not. But we've got a lot on our plate.
Mhm.
And I remember saying we were going to finish these other things. And now, because someone else has a need, we're being drawn away
Redirected.
from that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're being redirected. Now, the overall impact should be, as the word is, transformational for our downtown. But, this wasn't on our list of things to do.
But I don't think this would really probably get all that crazy until some of these other projects have sunsetted. I mean, this
Well,
is.
and it may.
Tremont's gonna be done hopefully in
Yeah,
June.
but we got Bethel and everything else. But
August.
for me, if I stand back and look at
And
all of the stuff on the
Right.
plate and put this one on the plate, this one would come up.
It's gonna.
Right.
I would say the parks.
So it would be worth redirecting our
Yeah.
attention, not forgetting, but focusing.
Yeah, and I think the immediate need
That's
is,
what we have to,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's what we have to,
Prioritize, replan.
yeah, we
Yeah.
have to be
2 years,
willing
4
to,
years.
yeah.
it's
Exactly.
Nick's department and is going to be the immediate need, is because we would likely get a chunk of money from the PFD that we're going to have to do the needs study. That's the start of it, and then a parks plan. And then, of course, it involves Noah because he's got to find 2 peanuts and
But maybe
a
that's part
cashew
of the
to pay for
PFD
it.
request, is make sure that there's funding so we can,
Well,
we don't do it in
that's-
house.
Somebody
But
else is doing it.
not our parks plan. That was going to be a mid-year.
That was in our.
That was in our event 2020, and now it's a 2019. We're gonna, it's gonna take staff resources to.
Yeah.
Well, I
The
think
other
that's
thing-
something that's probably gonna need to be done, because if
Was
if
on
we
was
look
next year's
at
plan.
and say, look, the only way we're gonna pull this thing off is to do some kind of a metropolitan parks organization, we need to know that. And certainly start heading down that direction if we're gonna need to inform the community.
Or get the community's buy-in. I mean,
Well, that's what I
That-
meant by
that-
informing.
looking at the stats here, and I'll share this tonight, Kingston is a community of 5,000 people, and they pulled this off with local dollars, this whole thing. If this is truly not just important to the people at this table, but our community as a whole, we've got 14,000 people, and if you add in our UGA, we're 31,000 people. Foot traffic in the Kingston Library is 5,000 people a month. Foot traffic in our library is 15,000 people a month. There's demand. Is our household income as high as Kingston? I'd probably not. They're more North Kitsap, but you know, there's a lot of similarities to this center, and you know, and we're 3 times their size or more.
Well, and the other component to that is everything that theoretically comes with it. All of the Kitsap Bank and,
Correct.
you know,
The center
this
by
is not even
itself is a
barely.
non-starter for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
It's the
It's
other
everything else.
development.
Correct.
Yeah.
But
But my point is if
selling
you
it
take
to our
that
community,
15,000 and then you add what they're proposing to put in here,
yeah,
it's a whole different world.
Yeah. The project by itself, I would be doing a pushback on.
Yes, I
But the
agree.
whole redevelopment has.
Right, and I agree, and I just, you know, when you compare it to Kingston, there's a lot more that's coming with this project than what Kingston
Right.
did, and Kingston has been extremely successful from my standpoint.
I'm just pointing to it from a, you know, there's members of our community that care about Kitsap Bank,
Right.
but average Joe out there, maybe, you know, it's, I'm just trying to make a correlation
You can-
to their,
Yeah.
from the community.
You cannot sell it, is that Kitsap Bank will
No.
leave if we don't,
No.
because that's the bad press to
Other
Kitsap
than the
Bank.
jobs,
Yeah.
Right.
the jobs, but no,
will
I think
come
it's
here.
the other portions that,
Yeah.
you know,
Right.
West Larson and those guys are gonna be doing, it's
Correct.
really important when you talk about living, retail, parking. I mean, there's a lot of components that this community really needs. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
We
Well, I
So,
was just gonna
what time
say-
do we have to,
I have to run
What
home. I
next?
have forgot my watch or my phone, and I can't be without it. So,
We won't start without you.
okay. Well, you can start the work study without me. But what
Gee, thanks.
the piece, yeah,
do you want to adjourn this, or?
yeah. Let's adjourn. this.
Okay, then, do we need to schedule another one, or are you gonna just let us know when you want us?
Plan
We
for
can
that 4th Tuesday in May?
May.
Same time, same place,
Okay.
or that 5:30 time frame? If we don't have a 6 o'clock start time?
Yeah.
That gives him a month to get all of his data in order.
That'd be the 28th,
Is that a holiday?
I would say that could be
the
after.
day after Memorial Day.
Day
but,
after Memorial Day, yeah.
Works for me.
It works for me.
You guys will be very, very lucky, because that morning I get recertified as CPR at first aid, and you'll be
Oh,
safe
good.
that evening.
I'm so glad.
So
Because I
28th?
may need it someday.
28th at 5 or 5:30? 5:30?
5:30.
We just started early tonight because
Yeah.
of our other.
Yeah.
I'm off the 28th, so.
Oh, damn you.
We could do it another day.
Do you want to do it
21st?
the 21st?
That's our work study. We will have a work study.
Doesn't matter.
Okay,
We
then
can
let's do
meet
it the
beforehand.
21st.
Okay.
Fun.
Okay, 5:30?
5:30?
Sure.
Okay, May 21st, 5:30. I'll send out an
If I
invite.
had my phone here, I am now putting him in my phone. It's scary.
Getting high tech on us.
All right, till next time.
Okay, I
Oh,
guess
damn.
there's nothing else. We're adjourned.